Hi, this is Mark from Altcoin Buzz, and today we're going to take a look at Bitcoin after the big spike last night and see what's going on in the chart. We're also going to look at a few coins that you guys asked about in the comments from yesterday. So let's get started with the Bitcoin chart. And so right as we're posting the video last night, you see what happens in this chart. We get a huge wick up into this range that we're looking at as a potential area that we might have some shorts closing. We talked about that, to be looking for that as some potential manipulation in the market. So the talk is out there that BitMEX was overloaded at that time that we had the spike last night, and that's when all of this occurred. And when I looked it up just to check into that story, I mean, it does not look like this is the first time that BitMEX has had this problem. It looks like last year in December, then again this year in April. Interesting to see if we had any price spikes during that time, those dates. I'm going to have to check into that. So the other news that's out there, the other thing that's on the street is that Tether also had something to do with this spike in the market. So in any case, we recognized that there was that potential for some manipulation to happen in the market, right? We saw that coming on the charts. It looked like that there was that setup. Hopefully you saw my comment after the post to not get caught in that trap that looks like happened very quickly last night. It did happen. Somewhat surprised at how blatant it was, but it did happen. And so then we look at the charts and go on from here. So even though we had that happen, it doesn't really change what we've been looking at for the last couple of weeks, right? We still want to see that potential swing, some kind of reaction down here where we've been before, and then a bounce back up, a retest of the support line, and then out. That would be very positive for us. If we look at the volume by price, the volume price range, you can see that reaction would need to be very quick. We don't really have a whole lot of support in that, at least recent support, past that 58.50 range. We have a ton of resistance at the $6,500 price point. If we can break through that, then there's not a whole lot between there and 67. And then if we break through the 67, you can see that there's a huge gap there just to be able to easily jump up to the $7,200, $7,300 range. And so one of the things that happened as I'm recording the video is I saw a post from one of our writers pop up that the news had come out about the Sonic Shares ETF. The most widely talked about was the Pro Shares, but it looks like all three that were up for the final decision were denied. Now, let's see if that affected the price at all. We don't normally do this where we drill down into the hourly chart or the 4-hour chart, but let's do that now just to see if, as this news is hitting the streets, if it's having any effect. So this is that fall off that we had from that big spike. It doesn't look like the ETF news is having any effect on the Bitcoin chart right now. Now that may be because it's just come out. It may be that the ETF news was already factored into the price, because we'll zoom out on that. So on the 1-hour chart, this is actually from the reaction from last night. So really this is what we're looking at right now. And so if we can close on a higher low here, I mean, it looks like we're going to be able to close, on the higher time frames, we might be able to close on a higher low. And if we can do that and start testing this higher high, even better if we can get above that 66 as a higher high, then that would put us kind of back on trend. Okay, so let's take a look at a couple coins that you guys asked about. And I felt like I should do some of the people that are on here making comments a lot. I'll start with your coins. Annalise asked me to look at Ontology, so we'll do that. And what we're looking at here are some kind of key support and resistance areas on Ontology, obviously in a downtrend. But we have this nice little flag here that's showing up, and this looks like it could be forming into a bull flag, where that would be confirmed a break out of here and up to retest the $3 area as a support, rest back on that. So a break out of this, if we use the flag, the base of the flag pole as our range, and this is how we would kind of test where our target might be, and we got 131% there. If we could break out of this flag and come up 130%, be looking at that probably 450 to 490 as a potential target. Now, I don't see this as happening as a parabolic move. You probably, if you get that break up, you're going to retest the support level at 303, could break through the next area of resistance at the 387, call it 390. If I just use the volume by price, we've got some decent support right now at the price that it's sitting at. If you break out of that 250, there is not a whole lot of resistance there before you get up to that 325. So this chart's looking pretty good. If it does break down out of that triangle, then 176, that is pretty much the area that I'd want to be out of it. Another coin that you asked us to look at was Enigma. Right now, you can see I don't like this chart as much. We're hitting our head right up against that resistance at 77 cents, which also happens to be where the 21 moving average is on the Ichimoku cloud. And then if we look at the VPR volume by price range, you can see that it's having a hard time getting past the level that it's at right now. That is acting as heavy resistance. We don't have any resistance really below that 60-cent area. So a break below the 60 cents is going to probably take us quickly down to 42, 43 cents, which is a prior swing low. You'd want to see what kind of reaction you would get off of that if you're going to stay in the market. Although with this continuing trend down, you could see Enigma reaching some previous lows. But with that trend down, the reality of trying to hit this previous low of 29 cents and maybe even below that could happen. So watch those levels. Again, a good breakout of 74 cents, and you could be getting up to that $1.15, 17 pretty quickly. Okay, so that's Enigma. So Matt wanted to look at Sonm against BTC. So we'll do that. We're looking at the one-day chart right now. And Matt, I'm not seeing anything good on this chart right now. Now, that's not going to be uncommon looking against Bitcoin on an altcoin. So we will look at the dollar chart just to maybe give you another perspective on it. But there is nothing good about this chart at this point in time. We're going to be hitting new lows. It looks like here soon. We're not even close to the cloud on the Ichimoku. Your volume price index has really absolutely no support below this level if it breaks through that 50717 sat level. So if I were looking at if I were just purely looking at this chart right now, this would not be a coin that I was interested in. Now let's look at the dollar chart and see if that changes up a little bit. I know you didn't want to look at that, but let's look at it anyway. Yeah, and looking at the dollar chart doesn't make it much better. You're making new lows here. This is uncharted territory, no pun intended. So it's going to be hard for us to do anything as far, obviously you can see where your price levels are, where your resistance is going to come if you get a break from this downtrend, and that's going to be at that 78 cents. And so that'll wrap it up for today. Sorry I didn't get to all the altcoins that you guys asked about, but I'll try and get to some more tomorrow. Make those comments below on the ones that you want us to try and look at. Hey, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you're alerted whenever these videos pop up. And also, if you wouldn't mind hitting that like button so it gets shared with some more folks in this space, that'd be great. I would appreciate it. Also, visit us on altcoinbuzz.io to get to all kinds of great articles that our writers are putting out all day long to give you the fundamentals behind all the coins. And you can get to all of our social media from there as well. So until next time, may all your trades be good ones.